The year was 2009. The fourth Fast and Furious movie obliterated the box office. Flo Rida and Our City were pumping through the radio, and everyone looked like this. I know, right? But in Hiroshima, Japan, an underdog car manufacturer known as Mazda was preparing to launch their newest competitor in the small car arms race. The first generation Mazda 3 was a sales hit. Right out of the gates, it was a super seller for Mazda, and it was easy to see why. But the car was aging quickly, and the competition was tough. Hyundai were finally making decent cars with the i30, but selling them for not much more than their atrocious accent at the same time. Toyota was as big back then as they are now, and their Corolla was still selling, for some reason. And Honda had their flashy new Civic jam-packed with tech. Mazda's timing for release was impeccable, but how did we get here? Let's explore how Mazda designed and developed the BL Mazda 3. The BL's design is one of its strong suits, so to truly understand the thinking behind the design, I contacted one of the BL's lead designers, Den Acker, for a short interview. We started talking about Mazda's requirements when designing the BL. Mr. Den Acker stated, when designing a new model, Mazda usually engages with customers in advance, and the direction we decided for the BL was really a matter of seducing the customers by making the car as sexy and sporty as possible. Mazda, compared to other manufacturers, is sort of an underdog, and I think we like to position ourselves that way from other manufacturers. For me, the Mazda 3 is the heart and soul of the company, alongside the Miata and RX-8, and is as close you can get to a sports car without buying one. I agreed. The Mazda 3 has always looked inherently sporty, and the SP variants in particular have always stood out. If you have a base spec Neo crossbred with an RX-8, you'd have an SP25, and I can see the as close to a sports car philosophy when I look at one. Its body lines are sharp and striking, its interior feels sporty and luxurious, and its wheels are relatively large for a small car, all of which are sports car-esque attributes. We then talked about the design. Lawrence stated, if you look into the meaning behind our design theme, Nagare, it means flow in Japanese. I always like to make sure that the cars look in motion even when standing still, almost like they're already moving. The whole philosophy of Nagare was quite unique at the time. It creates flowing shapes with sharp lines and full surfaces, and you feel like there's movement around the car. You look at the Mazda 3 and see that everything starts from the logo and moves outwards, ending in the tail lights, which give the car an edge. I always wanted the car to feel connected with nature and movement, relating to Mazda's Zoom Zoom and Emotion in Motion. We did a whole generation of Nagare Mazdas, and what they had in common was a very sporty nose, which included a long bonnet and a low-slung grille, and very pointy headlights that looked like they were painted on your face, if you will. They visually had a low centre of gravity, and all those cues carried through to a generation of vehicles. I can see how Mr. Den Acker described the BL as looking like it's moving, even when standing still. The body lines twist, curve and slant like it's braking and cornering under immense pressure. And the wheels all feature a dynamic flare, giving the impression of the wheel turning at low speed. The low-slung grille, long bonnet and pointy headlights allow the BL to look ready to cut through the air, relating to the Nagare flow theme. Lastly, I asked Mr. Den Acker what his favourite parts of the design were. I think the front end is really nice. I like the side, it looks very attractive. People say a car is as close to a human as you can get because the BL has shoulders, face, eyes, and in many ways it's a really human design. I think when I look at the BL, it's one of those cars that puts a smile on your face if I see one, because smiles are contagious, and that's something I really try to do, is have the car show a happy, optimistic attitude and make it seem like it's inviting you to come drive it. When you see one, you just want to get in and drive, and to me, that's how we succeeded. The BL's design was pretty polarising when new. Some loved it and thought it looked fresh, sharp and exhilarating, and others disliked it, feeling the grille was too happy and goofy and likening the design to several Peugeots of the time. The design was focused on symmetry. An article from Wheels magazine in 2009 concentrated heavily on this subject. Another lead designer of the BL program, Kunihiko Kurisu, discussed the topic of centre focus. I quote, "All design elements are looking at the centre, concentrated on the centre. So the BL's exterior lines meet at the centre line while the exterior extends outwards. The 5-point grille has a lot to do with this. Like a downward pointing arrowhead, it anchors the car to the road, making the BL seem wider and lower." Not so goofy anymore, is it? Cariso also expanded on the design for the wheels, stating the philosophy of twisted tension in transition, and how the wheels mimic the twists, curves and slants of the door panels and side skirts. Interior design was also a strong suit for the BL. In another interview with Wheels, Cariso explained the science behind a good cabin. The location of the gear shifter was moved upwards to improve interior dynamics. Because of this, extra attention had to be paid to other controls inside the cabin, like stereo and air conditioning knobs. The idea to curve the dashboard away from the passenger seats was to make the interior seem more sporty and driver-focused, a view likely influenced by the Mark IV Toyota Supra. However, it was done in a way that would make the interior feel more spacious. Cariso stated, "The interior colour scheme was mainly done in black as an effort to make the car seem more sporty. This was done with the contrast of frequently used controls being highlighted in silver, along with the air conditioning controls, shifter surround, and the ribbon-esque dash accents." But why was only the second half of the centre stack highlighted? According to Cariso, it was because of reflection issues during development. Now, all this talk about design only matters if the car sells. After all, Mazda is a business. So did all the time, soul, emotion and money poured into the project pay off? Did the BL reach both fortune and fame? Yes it did. Right out of the gate, the BL sold like hotcakes. The recipe for success was the sharp styling, vibrant colours, excellent powertrains and low price. According to corporate sales records, Mazda sold around 3,000 units each month. That's more than most cars sell in a 12-month window. Soon enough, the BL became Mazda's best-selling car and Australia's best-selling passenger car overall, being the first car to break the Holden Commodore's stranglehold in the 20 years prior.